Snitches get stitches.
Yeah.
Does he not know that rule?
Welcome to the Charlotte Buzz, where we drink beer from local breweries while telling stories about the neighborhoods they're from. I'm Chrissy, and this is Drew.
And today we are drinking beer.
All right, so how are we doing this? We got two
I guess
different
the
beers.
same as last time.
Okay.
So we'll drink one now and then one during your story.
All right. So first up, we have Our Mark.
From Middle James Brewing Company.
So tell us some things about this here.
Yeah, so we don't have much information, but Our Mark IPA is their flagship IPA.
Hey-o.
Brewed with El Dorado, Comet, and Azaka. I think that's how you say it. Hops.
Sounds good to me.
We've had all three of these before, I believe.
3?
Yeah. El Dorado,
Oh.
Comet.
I thought you were saying the beers themselves. Well, what the crap, man?
All three hops before.
I was saying what the crap because I filled his glass and then filled mine, and his was a full pint and mine was 2/3 of a pint.
Maybe those aren't a full 32 fluid ounces.
It was a little less.
Okay.
Wasn't totally filled, but
You want to take some back?
I'll make a huge mess doing that, so I'll just drink some of yours out your glass.
Well, all right.
But I'm going to start us off. We did, disclaimer, try these. We tried most of the stuff on their menu, so.
Yeah.
Hoppy. Goldenish. Yeah. It'll drink.
Kill. Flagship, as they say.
Yes. So the brewery only opened about a month ago.
Really?
Yes. So it feels like all of it should be like flagship, but
True.
there you go. What do you think about this here beer?
It'll drink.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bitter as most IPAs, I feel like.
Concur.
Could just be the crowler situation.
Yeah.
That seems to be a recurring theme with canned on premises situations.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe there was too much foam or space or something in there, because obviously this crowler was not filled entirely full per our pouring situation. But I feel like these aren't
So
as
a little flat, maybe.
Yeah. And I mean, we only got this yesterday. Yeah, we only got it yesterday, so it shouldn't be where it's at right now. So I think there was just a crowler issue, but
Yeah. You tend to get that from time to time. No fault of Middle James, I'm sure.
no.
But
And I mean, considering how many crowlers we've picked up in the last year, we've got a decent enough track record that it was bound to happen.
Yeah, I like the black and gold.
Yeah, I do like their
with.
branding a lot. I like anything that's got a matte black and then something, detailing
color pop.
that's, a good color pop. Love that. So they've got, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you want to go there, drink a beer, go to the driving range at the same time, you can do that.
You're killing all the things I had to say about the brewery, but sure. So
Bad.
they have 8 beers on tap right now. We tried 5 of them.
5? Oh, okay, yeah. We didn't try the Fly Kid.
Fly Kid? No, we did not. They have really cool little glasses too. Like we got a flight and it was just a different style glass for the flights, and we got a pour of the porter Stout?
Well, the glass was very reminiscent of like Queen City Brewers Fest. Or is it Queen? Or something like that. Like those real small taster glasses.
But it had the cute little, like, it almost had like a crowler shape. Like it came in at the top.
Yeah. We got some things like that from somewhere. Yeah.
I agree to disagree with you.
Okay. I've seen them before.
But so we got a full pour of the Carlava Imperial Porter, and that was served in basically a stemless wine glass. So that was kind of cool. And then we got Mike's Nightmare, which we'll be trying out later. We tried Highly Dramatic Volume 1, which is a New England IPA. Hour Mark, which we are drinking now. And First Half Pale Ale. They also have Squatchberry, Holy Bananas Hefeweizen, and Fly Kid Kolsch.
Yeah.
And then a couple of ciders and wine and all that shebang.
Which two of them's apparently made with bananas.
Yep.
So that.
A whole lot of them.
Well, banana aroma.
Yeah. Drew's favorite things.
Yeah. Not a big fruit guy.
Especially in your beer.
Yeah.
That's like trying to hide vegetables in dessert.
Yeah, it's messed up. Or fruit and vegetables. People do that all the time. Not fruit. Fruit in desserts.
Well, yeah, but that's at least fruit's sweet. Like it goes with it.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
They say it is, but it's not good.
Drew don't got no taste buds. But yeah, the location of Middle James is right there with a golf course and driving range right behind it. There's a CrossFit gym like right in front of it. So there's plenty of activities for you to get involved in and then hop over and have a beer. They have a full kitchen there as well. Lots of cool food. We got, of course, the beer, cheese, and pretzels because that's my jam.
Yep.
And it was the cheese was more Drew style, which is that kind of like baked, came out in the hot
Cast iron thing.
Yes. So it was really good. But a little background. The Middle James Brewery is officially run by Mike and Andrew.
James?
No. Well, yes and no. We'll get there. So Mike and Andrew, well, Mike was originally born in Ohio, grew up in, I want to say Myrtle. And then,
Beach?
Yes. And then came to this area and he got into brewing, went into a brewery competition where he then met Andrew. Andrew started brewing as an intern under Triple C and did some things. And so he ended up with his own brewery. And then Mike started working with him, with Andrew, under his own brewery. And then... Why are you making that face?
What was that other brewery?
What other brewery?
You said he started working with him under his own brewery.
I read some different things. It's very unclear. I don't have a name for it. It said that Andrew originally started interning under Triple C and then moved on elsewhere. And it sounded like Andrew was running his own brewery, but now I'm second guessing it.
He could have been a head brewer or something.
Right. And then Mike just came and worked under him there. So I'm not quite sure what that situation is. But they started working together and then went out on their own and decided Pineville needed a brewery. And so that's where they settled on putting the brewery up. Now, we have this other gentleman named Shannon. Yes, gentleman named Shannon, who grew up in the Carolinas area and went to high school with Mike. Friends, cool, good times. Also went to school with a man named Perry, and they went on their own food journeys for work. And we kind of go full circle with Shannon having his, like, going through all kinds of crazy restaurant. Like, he was one of the youngest, like, full Japanese chefs, like, all kinds of crazy stuff, and, like, had his own, like, head chef of his own restaurant by, like, 25 years old. Crazy stuff. So he gets back together with his friend Perry, who, like, Shannon, Perry, and Mike all went to school together, knew each other well. And they get together, create their own food group, LLC, and then come back full circle and end up partnering with Mike and, by extension, Andrew. And so they're in charge of the food part of the brewery. So it's kind of this cool full circle, friends all coming back around together to be there. So that's kind of the 4 main people involved there. The name Middle James is because Mike and Andrew both have the same middle name, which is James. So you weren't exactly wrong with what you said earlier.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And they were looking to have a family-friendly but more sports-oriented brewery. So they
all the TV.
Yeah, so it's very it's not quite sports bar, but as far as a brewery goes, it's much more sports-oriented.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make sure it was a family-friendly place as well. So, you've got that brewery vibe to it. And again, all the things going on right there. They are the first and only brewery in Pineville so far. And they officially opened on August 23rd. So we're going on almost exactly a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be.
So good food, good beer. I really like their branding. And I'm excited to see where they go over time as they kind of get into more of a groove of what they're doing. But
heard that.
It was a cool place. Just really cool detailing. Like the table we had mentioned was just really interesting.
Yeah, the grains were raised.
It was like raised grains and almost like a clear metallic hinted kind of coating on it. Ladies, they have hooks under their bars for your bags and hooks under the table, and that's always just a plus because it just makes life easier.
Word. I don't ever have anything to hang there, but if I did, it'd be nice.
That's why I said ladies. I mean, if guys have stuff to hang it by all means, but that's just something that just makes life that much easier for a lady.
True.
So, we get to go to a new part of town today and talk about Pineville.
Yes.
And for all the research that we did, there was one story. One story. So, it was one I think that Drew could do more justice to. So I said, please take that one and let him deal with all the stuff that went into that story. And then I found me something that is also just a fine story. It's really not as big a deal as there only being one story, but found me something else that I can just and let Drew handle the big one. So handle the big one.
Cool.
He's very excited about it. Can't you guys tell?
Yeah.
He's having a good day. And he's got beer, so I don't know why.
So you have, I'm sure if you've been through the area, you've seen the name James K. Polk around. Yeah. But what you probably don't know.
What don't I know?
Is that he is possibly the first and only president of the United States to rock a mullet.
Oh, I like it.
I will put a picture right here.
Bing.
Or you could just Google it. Homie's got a mullet.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Anyways, you probably see his name around a lot because he was born in Pineville.
Hey, you.
To Samuel and Jane Polk. He actually that K stands for Knox, which is his mother's maiden name.
Nice.
So she was Jane Knox Polk.
All right. I like it.
Yeah, he was born November 2nd, 1795.
Okay.
The first of 10 children. They had a lot.
Them Pineville folk.
I guess we're going to find out what you mean by that later.
Yep.
Polk's father and grandfather were successful economic and cultural leaders in the Mecklenburg community.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what that means.
Well, I was going to say, what is that? And then I was like, well, man became president, so
yeah,
I guess,
they were just people that people knew.
They were the influencers of their day.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like with a cultural leader. Yeah. That kind of sounds like influencer, what we would call it today.
But what we have on our hands is, I think we talked about it last week or the week before or something like that. But we have another Wright brothers situation.
Everybody trying to claim them.
when he was 10 years old in 1806, him and his family moved to Middle Tennessee. Which is not Middle James, Middle Tennessee. His grandfather had settled out there a few years earlier, and the rest of the family followed him.
Okay.
It says quickly the Polks prospered economically and politically in their new environment. So they just, whatever they had going on in Mecklenburg, they did the same thing.
I mean,
in Tennessee.
Fair enough, I reckon.
They say Polk thrived as a student, which I believe just means, especially back in those days, that he went to school. That's about all it took.
Sheesh. I don't know. They hit you with a ruler real good.
Yeah,
good
I guess.
A lot more than a ruler, because rulers were still used in my mama's day, so.
Yeah, who knows? But, yeah, I think it just means he went to school. In January 1816, he passed the entrance examinations at the University of North Carolina.
Hey, you.
So he came back to the Carolinas.
I like it.
Earned admission as a sophomore. He did some schooling up in Tennessee and decided to head back to the Carolinas, I reckon. So he's a transfer.
Got some gen eds out the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Went to Middle Tennessee.
Yeah.
University of Middle Tennessee? I don't know what they are.
No,
Middle Tennessee is a school.
Idea.
Maybe that's where he went and did his prereqs.
Yeah.
It says he graduated in the spring of 1818 as the top student in his class.
We'll all be.
So maybe he did do a little bit more than just went to school. He did thrive. He returned to Tennessee and studied law for a few years. Studied under some well-known guy there. I didn't know the name. Didn't really care.
He was super well known. I didn't know who he was.
Didn't know him.
That's because Drew only went to school. He did well by showing up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was some weird name. I ain't never heard of him. But that wasn't something he was that interested in. He ended up passing the bar and all that, but never really practiced. Instead, he had his sights set on political aspirations, hence president.
Nuh-uh. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Nope.
He served briefly as the chief clerk of the Tennessee Senate, which I thought was basically just a secretary, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe the clerk does something else.
Okay.
And then successfully campaigned to the State House of Representatives in 1823. So homie was probably only, he's 28 years old.
Nice. State senator.
House of Representatives.
Okay, yeah.
But still.
Yeah. But yes, you're right. There
yeah.
is a very, big distinction there, in fairness.
So 28. When he's 30 years old.
what am I doing with my life?
Yeah. When he's 30 years old, he launched a 14-year career
The words are hard for Drew today.
the U.S. House of Representatives.
Oh, it was state rep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
To the State House of Rep at 28.
Okay.
U.S. House of Rep 30.
All right. Still, what am I doing with my life? I mean, I'm drinking beer
Yeah, so from
on a podcast, so it's really not that bad.
1825 to 1839, he was in the United States
Yes.
House of Representatives. He was the Speaker of the House for 4 years, from 1835 to 1839, and he could have stayed longer if he wanted to. But during his time as a House of Representative, he was known as a follower of Andrew Jackson and the Jacksonian movement.
Yes.
Do you know what that is?
It's familiar.
Yeah, I've
with
heard of it
political
before,
science
too.
background, it is familiar, but not anything I wasn't really interested in American history or American politics, even though I have degrees in political science.
Are you un-American?
Yes. I mean, the real reality is I always wanted to write and travel. And so got kind of pushed into a political science degree from family influence. And so all the political science I did ended up being international politics as a kind of extension of travel. So I was like, I don't care about any of this. I just want to go places.
Well, since you don't know.
Yes, tell me more.
And I didn't know either. The Jacksonian movement, very Cliff Note version,
Yes.
believed in expanding.
Cliff Notes? Like, would teenagers today know what that is?
I'm sure. It's just all on the internet.
Right, they know Wikipedia.
Wikipedia was in school, but it wasn't as... Was there when I was in school, but it wasn't as good.
Right.
As...
Anyway.
All that stuff. Yes.
Yes.
Jacksonian movement.
Cliff Notes version. Go.
They believed in expanding suffrage to all white men. I think, what was it, just landowners, maybe?
Yeah, there was some hierarchy of... Yeah.
All white men above the age of 21, I do believe, manifest destiny, and that judges should be elected instead of appointed. But while he was in Congress, and while he was the Speaker of the House, a strong anti-Jackson movement emerged in his state of Tennessee.
Yikes.
So while he's the representative for Tennessee, the governor of Tennessee was anti-Jackson movement.
Yeah.
Jacksonian in 1835 and again in 1837. One again. And he's like, yo, we can't be having that in Tennessee. So he left the House and sought election to the governor's office in 1839 and won.
Nice.
Which was strange because they were so anti-Jackson.
And
They just put him back in. And then the next two races, he lost.
Shocker.
So they were like, yeah, go Polk. And then they're like, wait.
You're everything we don't like.
Never mind. This other guy. And then this other guy again. And so since he failed both times at governor, the National Democrat Party decided, let's nominate him for president.
Yeah. They're like, look, just this one group of people don't like him, but the rest of us, we're on board.
They're like, lost twice. Hey, good try, I guess. It looks good on the resume. You attempted.
Yeah. You learned some skills. You learned through failure. That's good.
Yeah, so we'll nominate you. But apparently it's because they needed a Westerner who embraced territorial expansion. Hashtag manifest destiny. I guess Tennessee was Westerner back then.
Yeah, it was definitely.
So he was nominated and ran against Henry Clay. And won, but just barely. And manifest destiny was the key issue. Going on during this time was the annexation of Texas.
Okay.
Some people didn't want to let Texas in, and some did. And he was, manifest destiny, so he wants Texas. And apparently more people wanted Texas than didn't want Texas.
Sure. It's funny how everything becomes so cyclical that, Texas was the progressive movement to add something new and, all, expansion and all the newness of it. And now it's like Texas is like, we sticking to our roots, son.
Yeah.
Anyway.
They were kind of like that at the time, too.
It's just...
I think some of the people that didn't want Texas to be annexed were the people in Texas.
Fair enough.
I do believe.
Could see that.
But when he won, he lost Tennessee. So
that is funny.
They still didn't
It makes
like him.
sense, but that's funny.
Yeah. So
they're like, listen, we voted you out here. Why do we want you on the big seat? No.
Yeah.
That's great.
Strange. So, like I said, whenever he was elected president, arrived in Washington, the whole annexation of Texas was going on. He kind of gave his 2 cents, and it was passed. So that's the first chapter of his manifest destiny. Next on the list was getting California from Mexico.
They talk about that swell awkwardness in The Mask of Zorro.
Oh, yeah.
That was a movie I was real into when I was younger.
I mean, I like Zorro.
And you had Antonio Banderas and what's his name?
Anthony
I was like,
Hopkins.
eats people's faces.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
But yeah, you had both of them, and they're awesome. So
Yeah, it was a good movie.
it was.
Poke, first thought, you know what? I'll just buy it. So he's like, I'm going to buy California and New Mexico because that's the space in between at the time. I guess Arizona wasn't a thing. But it was probably part of California.
Yeah.
But so you wanted to buy California and New Mexico from Old Mexico. And old Mexican leaders were not fans.
Shocker.
They're like, nah,
Not fam.
we want to keep that. Polk then shifted his attention to defining the southern and western border of Texas. Because I guess it's all wishy-washy.
I believe that.
I mean, it's just desert.
I mean, I feel like it's still kind of that.
Yeah, true. It's just desert out there. Nobody knows where they're at. It's just like
Right.
the Wild West, as some would say.
Now all I hear is Will Smith.
Yeah. So, spring of 1846, he's like, I'm going to send troops. You know, we'll define this border. And in doing so, of course, makes Mexico mad.
Nuh-uh.
So then a war starts. You know, he rallied the nation by doing the old hashtag manifest destiny. And
We should do like modern history and like retell, like just go through like American history from like day whatever, irrelevant of where it's at or any of that, and just tell it in like modern terms.
Yeah, so he'd be James
should
K.
do
Polk
that.
would be like, building a wall, manifest destiny
Have you ever seen those things on like
on Twitter.
yeah? There's like the Twitter feeds and Tumblr feeds and all that, and it's like current like World War II on Facebook.
Yeah.
And it's like just the modern day retelling of it. And
Yeah, the internet is a glorious thing.
yes, but I think we should really do that'll be the third podcast.
Oh my God, I
It'll be
can't keep.
hashtag modern history.
I can't even keep up with this one.
Hashtag modern history, and we tell it in that style.
Sure, put it on the list. We'll
Yes.
get to it.
Hashtag fake history. Hashtag modern history.
Yes. So
Okay.
thanks to General Zachary Taylor and his soldiers, they won battles early and often. Did quite well for themselves. 1847, the United States had control over both California and New Mexico, and are on their way to capture the Mexican capital, Mexico City.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, aptly named. Is that the right word? Aptly? Yes. So they do capture it. Easy peasy. You know, I mean, I don't know how camouflage back in the day was, but I'm pretty sure sombreros through the desert's not a good one.
Yes. Yikes.
They don't all wear sombreros,
Yikes.
I'm sure.
Oh, goodness.
So yeah, they captured all that. Peace treaty was made in February 1848. It resolved the Texas boundary dispute. Mexico offered California and New Mexico to America. But the U.S. had to pay $15 million to Mexico for them. So thus America's destiny had been manifested.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, and we now have all the way to the Pacific Ocean.
Hooray.
I just wanted to let y'all know that $15 million in 1848 is the equivalent of $487,135,443.04.
4 cent, people.
So that sounds like a steal. Seeing how David Tepper had to pay $2.2 billion for the Panthers.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
We bought California and New Mexico for $487 million.
Yeah, that's nuts.
That's a quarter of what, well, less than a quarter of
That's
what the Panthers
insane.
are worth.
What a strange, strange world we live in.
Weird. So while he was doing the whole Southwest thing,
I would say, like, let everybody, all the, like, internet trolls and everybody freak out now about how much we value athletes and stuff in our society, but it's called the Charlotte Buzz.
yeah.
They're all on our side right now.
And I mean, I like the Panthers more than I like California and New Mexico, so
You're not wrong.
worth it. So anyways, while he wasn't only doing the Southwest acquisitions,
Yes.
at the same time he was working on the Pacific Northwest, which was controlled by Great Britain. And he was like, hey,
I was going to
guys,
say, I don't think I knew that, but I mean, I guess logically it makes sense. Just never
fur
really
trades and whatnot.
Literally just never thought about it.
Yeah.
But carry on.
So instead of war, like we're doing with Mexico, he's like, you guys don't want any of that. You know what happened, 70 years ago.
Yeah. We ready made you look foolish.
Yeah.
We threw some tea at you. Let's talk.
Yeah. So, eventually there was a treaty that defined the northern boundary of the United States along the 49th parallel.
Mm-hmm.
I believe everything Pacific Northwest was called Oregon at the time. Like Washington State wasn't a thing. But,
I could see that.
So we got that done.
It is the Oregon Trail, after all.
True. He did a few other things, like with Treasury and non-interesting stuff. But they say he was probably the most important president in between Jackson and Lincoln.
I could see that.
Which was considering 7 to 16. So that's a good little chunk. I mean, there's I think James Taylor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had back in school, I had memorized the list and the order.
Hashtag
and there
nerd.
was a little song that went with it that we learned in school.
Uh-huh.
And so I'd heard of them.
I'm I don't even know if I've ever even heard the entire list. I know of all of them, but I don't think I've ever even in order.
So if you look at that list, you probably have heard of 2 of them from 7 besides Polk. And that could just be because we're
that's the game where they say oh, can you name all 50 states? I do honestly think I could name all 50 states. Give me a pen and a paper so I can scribble them down. But if it was name all, what are we at? 44 presidents? 44, right?
45.
45?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Obama was 43, but I guess that's Bush.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and name. You want me to go ahead?
But yeah, I mean, okay, so we're at 45. I could maybe, if I'm lucky, I could probably list you 15. I really couldn't.
I mean, I think I could push 30.
I could maybe do 20, maybe. But I mean, I could not give you a lot.
Yeah.
But you saying them, I absolutely recognize their names, but I couldn't give you a whole lot of them.
Yeah. So after Andrew Jackson, who was the 7th president, there was Martin Van Buren. Mm-hmm. Interesting
Recognize,
name.
wouldn't have pulled it out. Yep.
Don't know what he did. William Henry Harrison.
Mm-hmm. Recognize, wouldn't have pulled it.
John Tyler.
Recognize, would not have pulled it.
I wouldn't. No, never.
The only reason I recognize half of this is because poli-sci background.
And James Taylor wasn't even a thing. That's a freaking musician. Mm-hmm. Zachary Taylor was the president after James K. Polk. Millard Fillmore. Franklin Pierce.
I don't know that one.
He's one.
The other ones, they're super obscure, but
yeah.
I do recognize them. No. What?
Yep. James Buchanan. Mm-hmm. And probably the only reason you know James Buchanan is because he was before Abraham Lincoln.
I don't know.
So they say he carried the most weight as far as what he did.
Buchanan?
No.
Oh, Polk.
James K. Polk.
Okay.
The mullet.
Gotcha. You're not wrong.
That's a mullet.
It's absolutely a mullet.
So,
Yeah.
he's from Pineville.
Yeah, I mean, get it.
But also at the same time that we say Ohio has no rights to say, birthplace of aviation.
I mean, he did come back for college.
That's true.
So, I mean, at least we have a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And in that instance, I mean, Tennessee is our neighbor. So it's still, and especially in that time, it's really all just a big area of the world.
Yeah.
State lines don't mean. He learned to create some state lines, but
everything
it's not
was
real.
a veal with pines.
Yes.
So anyways, upon retiring for the presidency in March 1849, Polk embarked upon his final trip. He went from Washington to Nashville, and I believe, according to his diary, he was looking forward to days away from the presidency. I'm sure everybody looks forward to that. But he died on June 15th, 1849, just 3 months after leaving the White House.
That sucks.
Yep. But yeah, in Pineville, where he was born, they have the President James K. Polk Historic Site. Mm-hmm. When I looked it up on the map, it's basically in the mall. Well, it's a street over from the mall, but it looks like it's at the mall. Mm-hmm. So it says the site is located on land once owned by the parents of James K. Polk. The state historic site commemorates significant events in the Polk administration, the Mexican-American War, settlement of the Oregon boundary dispute, and the annexation of California, all that we've talked about. Mm-hmm. And reconstructions of typical homestead buildings, including a log house, separate kitchen, and barn, are authentically furnished.
Noise.
The visitor center features a film on Polk's life and exhibits on his family and tumultuous presidency. Big word.
Yes.
Took that straight from the website.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, check it out. We have not, so we can't recommend it. But if
like
it's boring, just go to the escape room at Carolina Place.
Yeah, breakout. Yeah. I've been there. It's a good time.
You'll find something to do over there.
They'll chain you to a bed and tell you was kidnapped. Limbs will fall from the ceiling. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's him, James K.
I like it. Well, I'm going to tell us a quick little bit about Pineville before I jump into my story, so you have a chance to finish that beer.
Yeah.
And then we'll have a real quick intermission so we can rinse these glasses and grab the second one. Cool?
Yeah.
Go team. All right, so Pineville, officially incorporated in 1873. Shockingly, it was named for the, and I quote, large and abundant pines that cast their shadow over the community.
That's probably exactly like Southern Pines, Pinehurst.
Yeah.
What's it?
Aberdeen.
Whispering Pines.
Whispering Pines. Yeah. But yes, they literally did that. So it used to be during the Charlotte Gold Rush, it was a mule trading center along two Indian trading paths. So started out as Indian trading paths, crisscrossed in this area. Charlotte Gold Rush is where they used to trade mules. And during that...
Mules are just half horse, half donkey, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Or donkeys half horse, half mule.
That was I think so. It's something in there. And whatever the breeded one is, it cannot breed itself.
Really?
Yeah. Like whichever one is made, it has to keep being made from the other two. It can't produce with another one of its own.
So what is it? Does it not produce at all?
It is not able to produce.
Huh.
That's what I've learned. Could be totally wrong, but I have learned that.
Interesting.
So either someone lied to me real good or...
I wonder if Zorses are the same.
I don't know. But that's what I've been told.
That's a zebra horse, in case you didn't know.
It took me a second, but I figured that out. Nonetheless, it became this trading path. Well, it was a trading path, became a mule trading center. And during that time, it was called Murrow's Turnout. Not really sure why. Didn't get an explanation for it. And then in 1852, a train depot opened for the Charlotte and Columbia Railroad. And it was just about that time that they decided they needed a
post office.
Yes. They needed a more, I forget how they worded it, but sort of like a classier name for the town that was starting to build there. Yeah. And so they went with I almost said Pinehurst. They went with Pineville because of the trees. Shocker.
Cool.
And then in the 1880s, 1890s is where we start getting all the mills popping up. And there's, half a dozen that popped up in that area at that time. And then we just kind of proceed through history as you would expect, where the population starts to grow, reaches a decent point, the Depression comes, it kind of declines, and then we just keep moving forward, and here we are today. So nothing necessarily of huge note during all that time. Just
I did see that they're kind of smushed in. They really can't grow anymore.
Yes, they got
because they're
kind of landlocked by the
Charlotte
border
and South Carolina right now.
Yeah, it became What do I have? I have a note in here that it is currently the largest shopping district in North Carolina.
I did see that, yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with it got zoned certain ways. And then, as it started to expand rather rapidly, it got blocked in between Charlotte and then the state line. And then it just was like, well,
I'm here.
Yep. So, interesting. But, yeah. But Drew did a good job of chugging. So we're going to take a quick intermission, rinse our glasses, and we'll be back with my story. And go. And we are back. We have got clean glasses. And we are ready for beer number 2.
Do we have clean glasses?
Yes, I rinsed them out.
It just happened like that?
It's magic.
Oh, I didn't say anything about the percentage for that last one. 7%. Did not seem like it was that
Potent?
Yeah. Mike's Nightmare is maybe...
Not an IPA.
Yeah. Is maybe Drew's Nightmare because it's only 5.4%.
Womp womp.
We're getting in like Budweiser land.
Because you've been hanging around with me and my IPAs too long.
Yeah.
But also, I gave you the fuller glass last time, so you're welcome.
True. Mike's Nightmare is an amber ale with medium malt character and great something notes.
Caramel. It's already in my head.
Oh my God.
Because I already tried it. That was what made me pick this one when I was there, because it said caramel. Sorry. But yeah, it's definitely a nice amber looking beer.
Yeah.
I will say, compared to the other crowler, this one obviously was, if you're looking at the video, definitely a full crowler, way less flat. So the other one just might not, clearly they just didn't seal right or something.
Yeah.
So the like quality, much more on par with what is there.
What's there? I mean, I guess I'm getting caramel notes.
I mean,
but also,
I wouldn't directly say caramel, but yes,
Yeah.
like in terms of having a beer, I could see where you would call it a caramel flavor.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the same thing with wine, or not necessarily with coffee, because obviously coffee is, they'll put caramel in it and you taste it, but it's one of those, you get a weird flavor profile and you have to name it something. So I could see where you would call it that, but it's definitely not like where
Caramel
you
syrup.
It's not like when you taste a beer that's got orange in it and you're like, oh, I taste orange. Like,
I think I just spit some.
Drew's getting sloppy. But I'll say this will drink. I mean,
Yeah.
me personally, I wouldn't be able to drink this as thoroughly as I would an IPA, but I was impressed at how much I liked this for not
Yeah.
being in my normal wheelhouse.
And this feels like it should be higher than 5.4%.
I would agree with that. It feels not thicker, but
Yeah.
richer.
Could be that, possibly that medium malt character.
There you go. Yeah.
that we're
Malt
getting.
I associate with thickness, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
For a normal person, it's probably very good. For an IPA drinker, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, for anybody wondering, that Carlava Imperial Porter was pretty solid.
Yeah. Cool. Any last note you want on this beer?
No, other than it'll drink.
Noise.
Did I say that? I know you said it, but I don't know if
Just
I said
stealing it from you.
it. So I have to say it.
All right. So I'm going to talk about Walter Pearl Davis. Do you recognize that name?
No.
I'm shocked, actually. Well, all right. Born in Pineville. You will. It's because I said his middle name. Walter Davis. Born in Pineville, September 9th, 1954. Youngest of 13 children. Pineville folk. There you go.
Oh,
Polk was our oldest of 10, and now I've got the youngest of 13. In the 50s. Like, not even like, 1800s. 50s.
yikes.
Went to high school at South Mecklenburg. Played basketball. Was a shooting guard and small forward. His teams, while he was at South Mech, won 3 state titles and only lost 4 games. He went on to UNC. Was picked to be on the USA national team. Helped win a gold medal in the 1976 Summer Olympics. Okay. I typed 1876, so that's impressive.
Wow.
But there you go. He was nicknamed Sweet D at his time at UNC.
Okay.
For his great defense and his, quote, seemingly effortless, smooth style of play.
Okay.
Was picked 5th overall in the NBA draft in 1977. Went to the Phoenix Suns, where he spent 11 years.
All with the Phoenix Suns?
Played for 15. Spent 11 at Phoenix.
Okay.
In his first year, he averaged 24.2 points a game. Was the 1978 Rookie of the Year.
A little more in defense, looks like.
Was second team All-NBA honors. He was named All-Star each of his first 4 seasons, and then 2 subsequent seasons. I'm not sure at which point.
Just mixed in.
Yeah, but he had 6 total, but it was first 4 consecutive. But they were within his first 10 years that he had gotten all 6. So.
Oh yeah, figures.
February 25th, 1983, he set the all-time NBA record for the most points in a row without missing a shot in one game.
Interesting.
The previous record was, I want to say from the 60s.
Okay.
I want to say 61.
Is that still in? That's still the record?
I did not see that it said like he held this until. So my assumption is yes.
Okay.
I could be wrong. But nothing directly, whatever. So he scored 34 straight points, which was 15.
Oh, wow, that's a lot.
15 shots and 4 foul shots, 4 free throws, before he missed a jumper with 55 seconds left in the game. So how much does that suck?
Is this prior to the dunk being allowed too?
I have no idea when that was allowed or any of that.
All right. You keep talking.
You look that up, but yes.
Because it was not allowed for a while.
So like I said, he played a total of 15 years. As a career average, he had 18.9 points a game, 3.8 assists, and 3 rebounds. Career average.
It's after. They could have been dunks. Sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
Well, he was a small forward, which I realize means nothing. But we are
back
also
in the
talking,
day,
yeah.
Yeah, he could have been. He might not have been able to dunk.
Right.
Or only on breakaways.
Some of his other nicknames, he was known as the Greyhound for his speedy style and sleek physical appearance. The Candyman and the Man with the Velvet Touch.
See, all things pointing to me that I should know this guy.
Yes, that's why I'm shocked that you don't. I even recognized his name when I first saw it. Wouldn't have been able to tell you any of this, but recognized it as he's an athlete and knew that much, which I mean is still not knowing anything, but I'm shocked that you don't know who
Maybe
this is.
I'm just not connecting him somehow.
I guess.
Or I just don't know.
He is the Suns' current, still, all-time leading point scorer with 15,666 points in his 11 years there. He had the end of his career in the Suns was it kind of went dark a little bit.
Like they didn't want him anymore or something like that? Okay.
So he ended up with a bunch of back problems. And I read some other accounts that he had.
Probably from carrying the damn thing.
I know. You're not wrong. I heard some other
awful
reports of they said his first season in I forget what the number of wins they had that season was, but they won 15 more games that year than they'd had the year prior.
And they only play 82. So.
Yeah, it was like 40 some odd games they won or something, I think. But yeah, so had a bunch of back problems, and then there was this big drug scandal, which it turns out, because originally when I read that, I was like, oh, what'd he do? Which, yes, he was involved, but it was actually, there was a team-wide drug scandal. And so what made it worse was in 1987, he made a deal, and he testified against his teammates. And so he was, immune from being prosecuted and got a bunch of them in trouble.
Snitches get stitches. Yeah. Does he not know that rule?
So he got a new nickname called Waltergate.
Okay.
But yes, he was involved in it himself, obviously, as well. And 2 separate times he went to rehab for cocaine.
Hey, white gold, all that jazz.
I'm not sure about the second time, but the first time he volunteered. There was a story where they lost a game, and he still got 17 out of 27 shots or something. And I don't know why that's sticking in my brain, but it is. And because the article that I read about it, it was like, scored all this, they lost. He went home, and then the next morning called the team's GM and said, I need to go to rehab for cocaine. And nobody knew about it. It was a thing. And so the author had put in parentheses, I go back and I reread the sentence, and I can't stop but ask, what the frick happened that night? What happened? But so I don't know about the second time if it was voluntary or not, but the first time nobody had any idea. And he was like, yo, I gotta go. But
Word.
Twice went to rehab.
Maybe he didn't really have a drug problem. He was just, his back was starting to hurt from carrying the team. So he's like, I'm done with these fools. I need a break.
You're not wrong. But in the midst of all that, too, is you have this big scandal that sort of rocked the NBA. Mm-hmm. And then because of all the drug issue, the team was sort of half purged in essence. And so between his also involvement, but then immunity from being prosecuted, he's still on the team, but the team is now significantly diminished from what it was. And so they start losing significantly more games. And so that was in 1987. And so 1988 is when his contract was up. And so they didn't really fight for him. They gave him a new contract, but it was half the pay, and it was only 1 year. They were just trying to.
Yeah.
So he went out as a free agent, ends up getting a 2-year contract with the Denver Nuggets, ends up playing there for a total of 4 years. But
because they ain't good neither.
In his second to last season, he ends up going for half of the season to the Trailblazers. There was some weird 3-team trade deal that went down.
Yeah, NBA's always got that crap.
Yeah, so he spent half of a season with the Trailblazers and then came back to Denver. So that last 4 years was primarily in Denver. He ended up completing his career 479 points shy of the 20,000 mark of points. So that sucks. I mean, that's still a good bit, I realize, but that's a season.
If he's, what did he say, he averaged 18 something a game?
Overall,
for his career?
Yeah.
So, it was probably a lot lower than that at that point. I mean, if he played half a year, he probably could have got it.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, so I mean, that sucks. After that, he became a broadcaster for the Nuggets, and actually after that became a scout for the Washington Wizards, sort of during some Michael Jordan era-esque stuff. There was some communications there.
Okay.
And then over time, he tried to rebuild his relationship with the Suns because that's, what he was known for. That was his primary legacy was the Suns. So in 1994, they did retire his number, which was 6.
They did.
They did.
Is he the only one up there in the rafters?
I have no
Charles
idea.
Barkley.
I don't know. In 2004, they enshrined him, quote, enshrined. I had to say it that way because I was like, I don't know what that means. I know what that means as a term, but in this sense, I don't know what that means. But they enshrined him into the team's Ring of Honor. Also not entirely sure what that is.
It's just like, Panthers have one now. That's T. Smith, Jordan Gross, Wesley Walls is in. It's just like a Hall of Fame, but just for the team.
Yeah. Which is kind of what I surmised, but I wasn't entirely sure. So, and I meant to look it up, and clearly I didn't. So again, was the Suns' all-time leading scorer with 15,666 points just during his time with them. He was the top 10 in franchise he was actually second in franchise history for games played. He was first in field goals and attempts, which this is my question, is like I played ball for several years. Is field goal just like a shot?
Yes.
Because then
any shot taken.
Because then free throws, he was fourth. And so I was like, oh, field goal. Like my brain went to free throw, and then it said free throw, and I was like, well, shoot.
Free throw doesn't count for field goals.
It's just shots taken, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So he was first in field goals and attempts, fourth in free throws, fourth in assists, third in steals, and ninth in offensive rebounds overall in franchise history for all those stats. So, I mean, that's to be in the top 10 for that many stats still. Rock on.
Well, I mean, NBA is such a fast-paced game. I mean, especially nowadays.
And there's so many games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, like, if you last 10 years, then you're good.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to do well, or you had to have played well, because the turnover rate's just so high for role players,
Yeah.
But
yeah, when I was in middle school, I wanted to be in the WNBA. And we had I played ball for probably 13 years or so, like through school and college and stuff. And I just remember so distinctly, we had people come into our classroom for some reason, and we had done like, this is what I want to be when I grow up. And I was like, I want to be in the WNBA. And these guys literally like grown adult men to a child who's like, these are my dreams, was like, good luck, honey. And I was like, oh God. And that like actually like affected my trajectory in life. Like, obviously I wasn't going to be in the WNBA. Obviously I was not. But like that psyche, like mutation, like that sucked.
Well, look, hey, be happy you're not in the WNBA, because it is quite possibly the hardest thing to watch.
And I mean, obviously,
just women's basketball is the worst. Well, it just looks awkward.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, I don't watch it. Yeah. I mean, who does? And obviously it's not a thing for glory or fame or any of that to be in it. It's just, I love playing ball. Yeah. And even like in grad school, all of these like super nerdy PhD students, we all were like, let's join what's the stupid league?
Huh?
I can't think of what it's called. I'm totally blanking. It's a totally normal word. But we just intramural. We played in an intramural league in grad school just because we were like, we want to play. And like, I was the only girl on the team, and I was fine with that. And I enjoyed the crap out of it. And I kicked some dude's butt, and they did not like it.
Yeah, basketball's fun.
I got yelled at for a ref by how I was setting screens because... And if you're not watching a video, I don't know exactly how I'll explain this, but
everybody
but women set picks with their arms crossed in an X over their chest because you're protecting your chest, and guys set a pick with their hands like sitting down in their lap. And I got yelled at by a ref because I set a pick with my arms crossed, and he's like, "You can't do that. You need to set this." I was like, "Listen, like, sir, I don't think you understand the mechanics of this sport." Anyway.
Well, not so much sport, but biology.
Right. And that's, I was like, I get what you're saying. I'm not doing anything illegal here. Like, let me talk you through this.
Yeah, and I have nothing against women's sports. I watch the women's soccer team more than you do. Mm-hmm. Big fan. Mm-hmm. Women's volleyball, I'll watch it. Anything women in the Olympics, I'll watch. Women's basketball, I will not. Mm-hmm. It's awkward. It doesn't look the same. Every other sport that I watch, it looks the same. Mm-hmm. basically.
Yeah.
Other than
and that's what I mean
women,
is I can't.
Women's basketball is just not the same.
I can't even vouch for it because I don't watch it either, and so that's like, it's clearly not a fame and glory type of situation. Yeah. But yeah, and that's what I do trust your judgment on that because I do know how much.
It's just the
are equal when it comes
different.
to
The shots are it looks awkward, but
I do miss it. So if anybody wants to get into a pickup game, let us know because God, I miss playing ball.
Yeah, explain to us the Carolina courts thing.
If I can try to convince you all to use a woman-sized regulation ball when we play too, that would be great.
I mean, I drop dimes on you fools, but that's okay.
But also,
just like I'm dropping.
I mean, I
dimes.
can deal with a guy's ball because obviously I'm living in a man's world, so I've had to play with a guy's ball when I play pickup games with anybody else in the world. But
I'm sure nobody
Drew would
have
appreciate
a problem playing with a girl's ball.
I know y'all would palm it so much easier.
You'll make more shots.
I just have small hands, and so that's why I know Drew would appreciate it too, because he's my size.
But more shots will go in because the ball's smaller. More room for error.
Girls' hands are smaller, and I was a point guard dribbling. I needed some help.
That's the point, but I'm saying.
I know. I understand the mechanics. I get it.
But I'll drop dimes on you fools like I'm doing in fantasy right now.
Yikes!
How you like that?
Anyway, we're not segueing.
Oh, dang!
Rude. So there wasn't a whole lot in his, because I mean he's still alive, so there wasn't a whole lot in his post life with that. But I did find an article for 2011 that stated in Denver he owned a high-end cigar lounge, and he had been conducting basketball lessons for kids and teens, and was working as a community ambassador for the Nuggets.
Yeah.
And that was in 2011, but I haven't been able to find any information past that. So, I mean,
he might have just retired.
I don't know if he ever got married, had any kids. Like, none of that information did I find anywhere, or really what he's doing. But it sounds like he kind of went through this sort of redemptive path where once he got out, he tried to kind of at least repair relationships. I don't know if he still has, like drug issues and alcohol and all that. Like, those things kind of tend to just follow you. But it sounds like he is doing the best he can with everything else. So, but yeah, right here in Pineville, went to high school and college and all that right here, and like Carolina born and bred. And I mean, aside from life issues, which we all have, sounds like a cool dude. Killed it, doing great.
He can shoot. He can make buckets.
Yeah, he'll get you a shot or two. But yes, now tell us about how you schooling us all because you're a douche.
Yeah. So we're 3 weeks in, and I've basically beat 3 Chris's.
You're not wrong.
Chris, Chrissy, and Chris.
Did I mention that when I was in grade school, like my family called me Chris?
I mean, you mentioned it to me.
My family called me Chris growing up because saying Christina was too much work, even though they're the ones that named me. And then in middle school, one of my friends started calling me Chris as a shortened version of Chrissy. So it was spelled Chris with 2 S's. So I kind of dug that, just being slightly off. And that kind of stuck through a bit of my grade school years.
Well, no matter how many S's you have, I'll beat you.
Rude.
2 things about my week. I won by 15 points. That's not one of the things. Trubisky, my quarterback,
finally showed up, sort of.
Has not gotten over 10 points in the first 2 weeks. It was like 8 week 1, 5 week 2, and I started him. And he played on Monday night, and I needed 4 points. And Chrissy was like, why are you starting him? He been messing you up.
Well, you talked so much crap on him last week of like, this dude is done. He's out. I'm not doing it. And then I look at the thing on Thursday night and I see him in his lineup and I was like, did he forget? Did he not touch his lineup? Like, he was talking so much crap. Yeah,
I really didn't touch my lineup, but I probably would have left him in anyways, to be honest.
Who's your other? Stafford.
Just Stafford's so up and down.
Yeah.
And like, I just knew that I was thinking
what happened was
he's not going to have 3 bad weeks in a row, right? I just wanted over 10. That's all I needed. I mean, I didn't even need that much from him, but I wanted to see over 10, and he got me 19.
Nice.
The other thing I want to point out is I talked crap on somebody. I don't know if it was week 1 or week 2 with playing their defense that was playing Kansas City.
Yeah, you did. We had this conversation off podcast also.
And
it's still funny.
So I did the same thing. I played the Ravens defense against Kansas City. And just like that guy who was an idiot the first time in week 1, I don't remember when it was, but I was an idiot this week and got 0 points from my defense because they were playing Kansas City. That's so stupid. Don't do that.
Well, on my end,
that's a tip for the rest of the year for the rest of you.
I played the Panthers defense and they killed it for me with 13 points. So I'll take it.
It's because they had Midget Boy out there quarterbacking for the other team.
My week was another dear God, my quarterbacks can't get their shit together because obviously Breeze is out. I haven't decided what I'm doing with him yet. He's still just hanging out on my bench, but have Garoppolo in. And I look at my fantasy at whatever point in, he's gotten on his first play, he threw an interception. So I've got negative 1.5 points on my quarterback. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I just closed the app and I was like, I can't even watch. I just can't do this.
Right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I mean, Garoppolo has been playing well the first 2 weeks too.
Yeah.
Because I said something to you
because he was calling out 20-some points.
Yeah.
And of course, this week I get a solid 9.38, which, I mean, I'm in the positive as opposed to last week and as opposed to that negative 1.5 I started with. So I'll take it. And I mean, I won the week. So
yeah.
Sorry, not sorry, Fumble Ibiuski. But Kamara is just, he's the one that his back's hurting. I had my tight end in, and it wasn't but 20 minutes before the game started that it popped up as saying he was out. And I was like, shit, and started panicking. So I had to pull someone up real quick. Got a solid 3 points out of my random backup tight end, but I mean, that's still better than 0.
True.
But yeah, Panthers defense really killed it for me with 13 there, and Kamara, and then the rest are pretty much on par with where they should have been. But
yeah.
I did move up 4 places, so now I am just the first loser out of the playoffs right now.
Nice. Who's that at number 1?
No, you're at number 2. I cut off the other person. You moved up.
What?
But you and our 2-point conversation are the only people who are undefeated.
And he's got more points for it?
Yes.
Yeah, due to freaking last week against you. Anybody else would have beat me last week.
Yep, same. I mean, it actually worked out very well for the two of us.
Yeah.
For all of our stats and things that it was against each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Drew's currently standing number 2. I'm currently standing number 5. And we'll see how it goes. We've got 2 people completely undefeated. We've got 1 person, Pain Train, who's still not won a game. Sorry, bro. This upcoming week, I face off with the Dynasty, the Patriots Dynasty. You suck. Ugh. If I don't beat you, I'm going to be really ticked off. Sorry, Holmes. But God, I hope I beat you.
Yeah, I played Fumble Ibiuski, who you played last week.
Yep. I beat him. Beat her.
Yep. Danielle.
Mm-hmm. I took her down. She gave me a run for my money for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then some of my people pulled out better than I expected them to, so.
Yeah, but this is week 4.
Now we're starting to get into what's legit.
Well, week 4, bye week start.
Yep.
So pay attention.
Hopefully my waiver wire goes through because I got no freaking quarterbacks because I've got freaking Breeze on my bench who's broken, and then Garoppolo's on bye this week. And so I had put in a trade on Sunday to get another quarterback, so I won't know.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you're listening to this, hopefully I'll know, but upon recording this, I still don't know. So.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. What other matchups do we got going on? Well, can you tell us who won over who in week 3, and then tell us what matchups we have in week 4?
Yes.
So week 3, winners and losers, we had
Me.
Drew which is It'll Drink, over
Hindsight.
Hindsight is 2020. We had India Pale Ale Mary, which is me, over Fumble Ibiuski. And then
2 Pint Conversation, the other
Undefeated.
beat Pain Train.
The only fully defeated. Sorry, Holmes.
Beer With Me CLT, the highest scorers of the week, I do believe.
Oh.
At 172.
Yikes. Get it?
Beat Patriots Dynasty.
Get it?
Grieving Helmets beat Pabst Interference.
Are you going to say it?
No, because he lost.
Maybe
you
next
only get
week.
a blue ribbon if you win. Hangover on Downs.
No participation awards?
No. Hangover on Downs beat Krabby Patties 156 to 112. So week 4 matchups would be me against Fumble Ibiuski, who you played last week. Hindsight is 2020 versus 2 Point Conversation. That should be a good one.
2 Pint Conversation.
What'd I say?
You said point. I said point earlier, and I'm just
2
realizing
Pint
it too.
Conversation. India Pale Ale Mary
That's me.
against Patriots Dynasty, which you already said. Pain Train and Pabst Interference. He is projected to win that one at the moment, so maybe he'll come out with a W. And I clicked on some weird stuff, and now it's okay. Beer With Me CLT, Hangover on Downs,
Alrighty.
and Grieving Helmets and Krabby Patties. But yeah, just check those bye week, people.
Yeah, definitely check that.
And hey, we open the trades around here,
We like bribes.
so
Invite us out for a beer. Get us liquored up, and we'll make any deals you want.
I mean, we'll see.
I'm a lightweight. I'm a cheap date.
Yeah,
It won't take much to bribe me.
that's all we
And I
got.
like free beer.
It's been fun so far, especially since I've been winning.
Rude.
So
Take him down this week, Fumble Ibiuski. Now's the time.
I guess.
Knock him off his pedestal. Whoever's playing 2 Pint Conversation, knock them down too. That way I have
It's
a chance
Chris.
of bumping up.
That's Hindsight.
Is it?
Yeah.
Chris, get on it. You let me down on not beating Drew. So at least knock this person out of being undefeated.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out Middle James. Like I said, they're a month in, but they seem to have a pretty cool setup going on.
Easy
Good
to
food,
get
good
to.
beer, great
a mile
location.
off of 485.
Plenty of stuff for you to do if you want to do some activities before, during, or after. And yeah, I guess we will see you all next week.
Cheeky later.
Bye.